Thank you for being in my live stream, everyone. I am Terry from Singapore. I would have advised you to use a vastly different opening because that would make us more interesting. In fact, for the past four and today the fifth session of a half-hour Zoom and live stream, I have meant to set aside this time to chit-chat and share with my fellow Toastmasters. And I believe there will be people from various walks of life in the live stream as well, and you will be most welcome. Yeah. So now being 9:30, I'm just going to send a little reminder to my fellow learners. And we will start. That's by way of some background. I have received and accepted, yes, I have received and accepted an invitation from the Division D of the Toastmasters in Singapore. This is the second time I've accepted this invitation. I find it meaningful to spend some time to speak to people who believe that they should want to learn how to develop a speech. This is something which I am interested as well. The Chinese saying has this wisdom which I like to pick up. Essentially, the best way to learn is to teach. It sounds very selfish, isn't it? Who am I to teach people? We all want to learn, but who am I to teach people? But the reality is when you're preparing yourself to teach people and show people the ropes, you yourself cannot be lagging too far behind. On the matter of preparing for speeches, there are two types. The totally unprepared one, apparently, which is just to speak off our cuff, and that type of speeches which we can prepare. You can take a long time to prepare, you can take a short time to prepare, but you know what you're going to talk about, just like tonight. So tonight I am going to talk about, hello Imran, you're here. Very good, welcome. I'll just give some background, Imran, if you don't mind, to our fellow learners. And feel free to invite your friends into this session as well. It will last half an hour and it starts now. Most welcome. And Imran, if you have a speech to share today, let me know. You can just type or just turn on your mic and tell me so. I'll continue with the background. So by way of background, people, I take upon this moment as a prepared speech by me as well. The intention of this speech is to share with people who are willing to listen on how we can use questions, asking a questions to start a speech, to get into the body of a speech, and even to end a speech. Yes, I had to prepare for this, and I did. And I'm glad for that. As I mentioned just now, all of us can prepare for speeches, but we need certain techniques. And it all stems from we having to remove certain obstacles. So I have heard, most recently, obstacles such as forgetting what to say, forgetting what we want to say, getting nervous, fearing that people don't pay attention to us. So in the previous 4 sessions, I have offered that we use personal stories to grab attention. I went on in the previous session about 3 days ago, I talked about using questions to capture attention and arouse interest. And that would serve very well in the opening of a speech.
Simon Biles or Simon Biles?
So tonight, I would like to proceed further on the use of questions. So I asked just now our fellow learner, Imran, if he has come prepared with a speech that he wants to share. If so, he's given the priority. Let me just take a look at his reply. You want to try impromptu speech? Okay, good. I will offer you one afterwards. But bear in mind, Imran, the intention of our session here is more for prepared speech. But if you are more interested to try out impromptu speech, I'm okay too. I'll give you a topic, right? The whole way it works is you don't come prepared with your title of your speech. I come prepared for you. So if I'm the one giving an impromptu speech, then you'll be the one giving it. So I'll put it at the back if you don't mind, right? The priority is for what is the intention of this session, which is to help our fellow Toastmasters with developing their speech. In the previous session, we talked about opening a speech with questions. And one of the typical one is ask a question like this. Imagine, what if all that you have learned from the supermasters about public speaking is wrong? Let me repeat that question. What if all that you have learned from the gurus about public speaking is wrong? So I've just thrown you a question. Imagine we use this question as an opener. Would that not make people sit up? Would that not make people sit up? You capture their attention. And you follow up with another question that, what if I have the answer to making all that you have learned really work? So the second what if is also a question. Would it not make you very interested to find out whether I am speaking the truth or not? You'll be interested to call my bluff. If not, you'll be interested to find out what is it that I know that you don't. Now, this is a recap of what I shared 3 days ago at 10:30. Now is another session on using questions. And now I would like to use questions on the body of a speech. As we know, a speech can easily have three parts: the beginning, the body, and the end. Now I'm talking about the body of a speech. Again, as a form of recap, some people have likened the beginning of a speech to be like a phoenix. You know, a phoenix is reputed to be vain because it's beautiful. People like to look at phoenix, and phoenix like people to look at phoenixes. So one way the phoenix captures attention is to open up the wings so people can, wow, marvel at a colorful thing. And I am known to go to Sentosa, a hotel that used to be called Beaufort, now it's called Sofitel in Sentosa, just to watch the phoenix. Yeah, they walk around, they roam the hotels. That would be in my 20s. I like habitually to go there just for coffee, but more importantly, to watch the phoenix open their wings and display their feathers. Liken the opening of a speech to opening up your wings so that people can see and marvel at the colors of your wings. That is the opening. That tells us that the opening got to be so captivating. But what about the body? What do we liken the body to? We liken the body to the big fish that many of my Chinese friends, including myself, would have enjoyed over the last few days. Chinese New Year. Not that we only have fat fishes in Chinese New Year, not really. If ever that was in the past, when generally life was harder for everybody. Now, no. Now, anytime we can have a lot to eat. In fact, we have too much to eat. But also, customarily, at festive season like Chinese New Year, we tend to eat more and we tend to serve sumptuous stuff on the table. And fat fishes is one of them. Now, think about the head of the fish, the tail of the fish, no, the body of the fish. And that's where there's most flesh, especially near the fin. So I, for one, like to feed on, I like to eat the fleshy part of the fish near the fin. It's really delicious. Now we liken the body of a speech to that part, which is juicy, which is a lot of flesh. You can bite into it. Real nice. Are you already salivating? We are likening the opening and the body of a speech. What about the end of the speech? Now, the end of the speech shall be like the mythical dragon. You know, in Chinese mythology, as well as in Western civilization, the dragon has been revered to be a creature of mystical powers. And generally, we don't really get to see the dragon. And if you ever we see it, better we don't see the face, because if we see it up front, it may breathe fire and it might destroy us. So if you are players of Dungeons and Dragons, Lord of the Rings, and so on, you would probably consider that it's better for us to look at the end of the tail end of the dragon. Yes, I liken the tail of the dragon to be something alluring, something that we want to follow up on, because that's a safe way to catch hold of the dragon. Yeah, so to watch the tail of the dragon. In fact, there is a Chinese saying that when it comes to the very holy dragons, you either see the head or you see the tail, but you don't see the whole picture. And it would therefore be very alluring to end your speech on that tail that kind of gives people something like there's more to come. Okay, I've just likened the beginning, the body, and the end of a speech to what I think will be useful for us to work towards. And tonight, before we end, of course, yes, Imran, so you'll be here. I will give you an impromptu speech for practice. There is a little diversion, but I don't mind that. I want to now focus on questions, using questions to beef up the body of the speech. In Toastmasters, speeches are normally 5 to 7 minutes. This is in the custom of the Toastmasters International, which has got 100 years of history. And on the stage of the international speech contests in the US, which takes place every year, the contestants, the finalists, also have 5 to 7 minutes. They are rather good in what they do. They take about 7 minutes. But this would not be the case if you were to have a different stage like the TED Talks, TED, TED Talks. T for technology, E for education, and D for design. TED Talks, TED. In TED Talks, there are about 18 minutes, 1/8. Yes, 18 minutes for a speech. That is the average length of a speech in TED Talks. Now, essentially, whether you have 5 to 7 minutes or 18 minutes, you have a finite amount of time, of which the body must be the main thing. It can't be the opening alone. It can't be the ending alone. But it has to be the body because that's where the message is. And when it comes to the message, generally, not very imaginative, I think, generally. We either want to save the world or to let the world save us, or we want to have a better world. It's usually something like that. It's therefore not very useful to repeat that in our speech like everybody else does. That's why in my earlier installment, I talk about using stories to beef it up. But tonight, I'm talking about questions. And in order to do that, I want to take my reference from other sources, from speeches. Yeah, from speeches. So I'm going to read this up. And if you guys are interested, I can share that in our WhatsApp group as well. Right? WhatsApp group as well. Okay, allow me to just look at some of them. It's easy for us to Google or use any of the AI tools that you have to look for a very famous speech. Although it's very famous, oddly, it's hardly ever talked about in the Toastmasters. In Toastmasters, we like to talk about Martin Luther King. I had a dream. We might even want to talk about JF Kennedy. Ask not what the country can do for you, ask what you can do for your country. But it's all fine. Today, I'm going to share with you a speech by this woman called Sojourner Truth. Sojourner Truth. This speech was delivered quite long ago, 1851. And you can search it using wherever tools nowadays you are accustomed to. It was delivered in Ohio, United States. 1851, that was a long time ago. Is it still relevant? It is. Especially the title. The title of the speech is a question. Ain't I a woman? Ain't I a woman? Am I not a woman? Now, I suppose you can guess what is the topic about. I'm going to read some part of it, not all, but I'm going to get you have a sense of why questions can beef up a speech and make it very memorable. This is a very well-regarded speech. The title is a question, Ain't I a woman? And in the body of the speech, there is a repetition on this question. Objective is to hammer home the main message and to not let loose on it. Why? Because this is talking about women's rights. So you can imagine women's rights is a very age-old topic and remains important simply because more can be done. I'm not trying to be political here, neither am I trying to be religious here. I'm just trying to bring across something in the form of speeches that can move people. So I'm drawing your attention to this speech called Ain't I a Woman? And this moment, I'm going to forward it to our PTP2. Yes, PTP2 WhatsApp group, so that if you want to look at it at the same time, by all means, yeah, so that we can do it instead. As for any friends who are watching the live stream now, you can just connect with me in private. I'm going to read that part of it so that we get a sense of it, all right? And if you are looking at the same script in the WhatsApp group, now it goes. It starts with, well, children, where there is so much racket, there must be something out of kilter. I think that twisted negroes of the South and the women of the North all talking about rights. The white men will be in a fix pretty soon. But what's all this talking about? This is the opening. It ends with a question. The main point is yet to come. It is not a very long speech. It took about maybe less than 5 minutes. That man over there, so the speech continues, as the speaker gestures to one direction, says that women need to be helped into carriages and lifted over ditches and to have the best place everywhere. Nobody ever helps me into carriages or over mud-puddles or gives me any best place. And ain't I a woman? This is the first time this question is asked. Other than positioning it as the title of the speech, this is the first time the speaker, Sojourner Truth, is mentioning it as a question. And ain't I a woman? This question put in this context makes it a rhetorical question. The answer is obvious, and there can be only one answer. Yes, you are a woman. We are looking at you. You are a woman. So it begs only one answer. Therefore, we call it a rhetorical question. It is a tool to use in speeches that make people sit up and can only agree with you. She goes on. Look at me. Look at my arm. I have ploughed and planted and gathered into barns, and no man could head me. And ain't I a woman? She asked the second time now. I could work as much and eat as much as a man, when I could get it and bear the lash as well. And ain't I a woman? Into the middle of the speech, in a short 2 paragraphs, she has asked 3 times, ain't I a woman? So what do you feel when you're the audience and this keep coming to you? Ain't I a woman? A rhetorical question, one after another, repeated. What do you think? I have borne 13 children and seen most all sold off to slavery. See, the message now has its main topic. It's about black women and the slavery of black people. And when I cried out with my mother's grief, none but Jesus heard me. And ain't I a woman? Now, this speech goes on for another 3 minutes or so. And by now, if you're interested enough with it, because of the techniques that's being used, and hopefully is the way I bring it across, you'll be looking at what I have forwarded into the WhatsApp group, and you can read the rest. My point is that we can utilize questions to help you on a few important things and allow me to recollect. From this PTP group, I have heard about not very sure what to say, not very sure how to say it that will keep people paying attention, worry about forgetting what we say. So in response to this, I have used 3 sessions, each one half an hour, to talk about using personal stories. Now I'm into another 3 sessions where I talk about questions. You use questions to start, you use questions to fill up the middle. So what Sojourner Truth just now did in her 1851 famous speech is to keep coming up with repeated questions. And ain't I a woman? To make people sit up and have to acknowledge that yes, you are, and you are an equal to men. You do not need to be looked down, and you have your rights. You do not deserve to be sold as slaves, and you should have your voice. So that would be the conclusion. But in order to bring people to the conclusion, the meat have to be substantial. So she cited a lot of situations about her. In fact, she's putting in stories, except in one-liner, about she as a woman crying to her Lord, she as a woman bearing 13 children, and she as a woman having to eat as much as men and work as hard as them. She is the equal, if not more. She wants to prove the point using herself and make people reflect on generally the other women who are not brought up in a very well-off family, was in those times born as a Negro. Now, we do not have to politicize anything at all. We learn the technique of using questions, repeating them, positioning them in the middle of a speech and helping you bring in power and address the key problems that some of us face, especially when we are new to making speeches. And that is forgetting what we say. Yeah? Why would you forget a question that can be repeated? Ain't I a woman? This is a question with the right intonation. Ain't I a woman? It's a question. Would that be so hard to remember? Especially when these questions bring out the emotions. Emotions we will talk about next Wednesday, next Saturday, and next Sunday. And that would end our PTP. 9 sessions, each one half an hour. But right now we're talking and focusing on questions. Ain't I a woman? Questions. So you can learn this. It's a technique to make yourself less nervous, to help you remember what you want to say, and to capture the attention, the interest of the people listening to your speech. Let them trust you more. Let them desire to find out what is it that they can help you with. And let them do what you want them to do. Now, getting them to do that something you want them to do is not in the body of the speech. It's usually at the end of a speech. We'll talk about that tomorrow. Tomorrow at 9:30, it means same time. But right now, for the remaining 8 to 10 minutes, I'm just going to wrap up. And I challenge you to use questions, to use personal stories in your prepared speeches, as well as in your impromptu speech as well. I have promised that any one of you who have signed up for this program and come prepared, I'm going to offer you more, which is to give you an evaluation of your speech. If you have come with a prepared speech, it's great. It might be better for you, I don't know. But if you have come prepared to take on an impromptu speech, like Imran has expressed, I am game to do that. Is Imran ready? Are you ready?
Yes.
Okay. Here comes, all right? I'm going to type it and I'm going to read it out. Just 3 words. The best gift. The best gift.
The best gift. For me, what represents a gift that is best for me would be the one that is meaningful. The one that serves a purpose, an important purpose. Just recently, I was watching a Netflix show with my mom, and something caught my attention. It was a phrase, and that phrase itself would be one of the best gifts that I have received. And that phrase was, "You grow through what you go through." It is a phrase that is uttered by Jonathan Owens, a husband to Simone Biles, a gymnast champion. It really resonated with me, as I agree that whatever you go through is meant to make you feel more experienced and know what to expect when you go through the same thing in the near future. So, for instance, just last month, I went for my first speech contest, and it was nerve-wracking since I haven't really prepared much for my speech, and I also don't know what to expect. Although I did relatively well, I somehow got into the last place. And that made me realize that uh, what place you got depends on the type of judges that you receive. And for me, I got the judges that are critical. And that's why I don't manage to take in even the third position. And this made me realize that I have to go through the experience so that I know what to expect. Which in this case, that you have to understand the type of judges that you are presenting in front of. So, in conclusion, you have to experience what you have to go through an experience such as by challenging yourself so that you'll be able to come more prepared for the next one. So you grow through what you go through. Thank you.
Thank you. Did you time yourself?
No,
Okay. How much? Can you guess how much time you took?
probably longer than 3.
Okay. Almost. Probably didn't exceed. But you exceeded 2 minutes and 30 seconds.
Oh,
Now, for the purpose of Toastmasters International's type of impromptu speech or table topics, you would have exceeded the time limit. And you know what it means, right?
yeah.
It means you either do not stand up opportunity to be placed in a contest, or you do not be voted as the best speech in a club chapter meeting. Now, not that it should matter, but it is a very useful guide to where you want to exercise or practice yourself. The good thing about time is it gives us limits. And it's a great thing. The sweet thing about freedom is that there are limits. Imagine there's no limits to the amount of time we have, the amount we can sleep, the desserts I can take. It will be havoc. Anyway, you are the key just now. I just talked about the obvious, which is keep your time. Now, there are many ways to do that. It is not my main focus tonight, but I just mentioned the obvious. What is also very obvious? What is also very obvious is that you have designed your speech with certain structure. Although that is not the key for tonight, but it is essential, and I want to congratulate that you know how to start, you know how to end. You already know, you demonstrated that, and that's to your credit. You start by addressing the question, which is the best gift directly. You call it the best gift for you. Well done, because you scope it to yourself. Otherwise, it's very general. The best gift to who? For what? So you have made it quite clear in the first 30 seconds is for you, for your growth. Well done. And when you close, you repeated that. And even use the term in conclusion. Very good. That's to tell the judges that you know how to conclude. This is particularly important in an evaluation contest, but it is also necessary in the table topics and prepared speeches. So keep at that. What you have done well, you need to know, and you keep at that. The rest will be in the body. And I'm using something cliche yet useful, which is PrEP, P-R-E-P. Have you heard about that before?
I heard about the different acronyms.
Yeah. So the different acronyms are senseless unless you see that you're using it. You have started off with a point. The best gift for me. Yeah. The best gift for me is when it gives me meaning. And when you end, you reiterate that. So point and point you have. In the middle, you have the reason. And you have provided reason in terms of a very memorable speech by Jonathan Ovens, isn't it? The husband to a gymnast. You grow through what you go through. You're trying to establish that's the reason. The reason is strong enough because it becomes a quotable quote. And the example would be, you have offered it as your experience participating in a speech contest and the outcome of it, how you felt about it. Well done. You have practiced PREP. And it's important for you to know that you have done that. There could be other ways of looking at how we have done. But that is one way, and you need to know. You need to know what you've done right. And normally we start with what you've done right. Just because we're going to talk about those that you can do better. It's different from saying you have done badly. We don't do that in Toastmasters. Now, neither do we sugarcoat anything, but we at least let you know that what you can do better. And that could be how you can do better. That could well be the meaning. That could be how you grow, because you are going through some just under 3 minutes of impromptu speech. You didn't know the best gift is the topic. Whether you're surprised or not, you went on to talk about that. So you went through something, which is the 3 minute impromptu speech, and you seek to grow through it. And growth could well come from affirmation of what you've done right, good, well in, but also an area in which you can do better. So I am also practicing the Toastmasters way of giving evaluation. And before, I should just conclude as well. Now just focus on what is it that you can do better. You can certainly do better with PREP as your structure to think about how you drive home more strongly the message. The message, you have utilized this quote that the best gift is growth. And we grow through what we go through. So you need to link that. Otherwise, it may seem disjuncted to certain judges who are more anal, perhaps. In your mind, you may think, yeah, like this. I can draw the connection, but I would love the connection to be more forcefully, cogently provided by you. Because you have started that. The best gift for me is when I receive something meaningful that helps me to grow. I am reminded of this quote. You grow through what you go through. I am very drawn towards growth. And if you were to give me something meaningful for my growth. I therefore thank Jonathan Owens for this famous quote. He must have meant that to encourage his wife, that famous gymnast. He may not know that this has motivated me. The best gift to me is to grow. And I know, I accept that I grow through what I go through. Meaning comes from what I do. When I draw the meaning, I can grow. You have provided the point and the reason. It might have taken about a minute, but that still gives you a solid 45 seconds to a minute to talk about the example. If I may, I want to congratulate also of using a personal story. So example is a personal story, which is what I had tried to convey in prepared speeches. You have done well. So you never fail to use your own anecdotes or stories. Never fail because they come across as authentic and you don't have to worry about forgetting the details because you are the details. Mm-hmm. So well done. It's an affirmation that telling personal stories is a great way of developing a speech. Now, what about questions? Did you try to use questions? Not that you must, but if you did, it'd be great. So let me demonstrate how a question can go. So you can say that, could you imagine coming in last in a speech contest that you actually prepared for? Happened to me. So if you do this, when you introduce an example, you're throwing a question and you're making people relate to you. Oh no, oh dear, come in last. You prepared for it. What happened? People may ask, right? Well, I shouldn't be blaming the judges, yeah? So we may cheekily say that. You want to push the blame to me. But really, my growth from here is being able to discern different standards. Obviously, my standards, I saw myself as doing quite well, and that of the judges differed. And I grow from understanding that standards can differ, and yet I can be the one bridging the standards. Okay, you can just throw in your conclusion from this, and you go on to this. This is what happened. I prepared for a speech in a club. There were 3, and I was the second to give the speech and so on. After giving the speech, I felt good about it. Little did I know that despite that, the judges put me as a 3rd. I was a bit indignant in the beginning. You share your emotions. Now, emotions shall be what I talk about next Wednesday, Saturday, and Sunday. They are very powerful in capturing attention and getting people to relate to you. Okay. Now we focus on questions. Yes. So how many of you were feeling very indignant that I did? That you look around. You're asking a question. I almost want to protest. I'm glad I restrained myself. Yeah. Because I am reminded of, hey, what I go through is what I'm going to grow with. So I ask myself, make 2 choices, make a noise about it, and do I grow from that? by attributing all this to you didn't do fair justice to me. Or would it be good for me to just sit down and ask my senior members of my club at where do you think I could do better? Which is classically what Toastmasters had tried to show us. We can always find out where I can do better. Because instead of saying, I've done so well and I didn't come in first, I can also consider, I have tried doing well. Tell me, where can I do better? And I found that because I restrained myself, I actually learned more that evening and even now. So that is the end of your story. We put in the example. You have also thrown in 1 or 2 questions I demonstrated to you. And you can now say, in conclusion, we really grow. And in growth, there is meaning. Give me the best gift. Let me grow. And I know that on my part, I must go through something. I'm glad I took that contest. And who among you think that I will continue to contest? Okay, you raise your hand and let people raise their hand. You end with a question, didn't you? And the answer is obvious. Looking at your whole expression and the way you conclude, you like to receive gifts, the gift of growth that gives you meaning. What you went through in your story, you had elicited meaning. And when you ask the question of guess, any guess? Who want to guess if I will continue to take part in club contests? And let people respond to you, and you end on that question. Yeah, it could be that way, right? I'm just translating or transcreating what you have shared. So all in all, a great attempt using a personal stories to show a certain roller coaster about you, but it is a testimony to you like gifts, but you prefer gifts that are practical, like meaningful for you to grow as a person. And you stand by this quotation, which is, we grow only through what we go through. So I would say this is well done, and I look forward to your next speech. Typically what we do in Toastmasters, isn't it? Okay, Imran, thanks very much for this. Do you have any feedback on that?
Okay, so far no feedback.
No problem. Go think about that, right? I'm glad today you come in because it's a notable difference from before. Because the first time I met you, you chose to just listen without turning on your video. Today, I get to see you over video. I get to hear from you. Yeah, deliver impromptu speech. So feel free, if you want to, that speech of yours that you want to share with us. Who knows who will show up, right? The next session, which will be tomorrow night, 9:30 p.m. That whoever you can share, and I will give you an evaluation similar to what I do today. Right? I will use that as an opportunity for me to show how stories work and how questions can work. And tomorrow I will focus on ending.
But for me, I feel that I can only do my next speech on the 8th of February.
No problem. Then so be it. That's next Saturday. If you like to, yeah. So this is our open way of learning. 8th February is a Saturday. It's the next Saturday, 7 days from now. Feel free to do that. Okay. In fact, just to add, that day, I'm going to attend one of the many Toastmasters events. It will be an afternoon event in near Ajunit MRT. Are you aware of it?
Oh, on the 8th of Feb got face-to-face.
Yeah. I'm offering a face-to-face because I thought you guys might sign up for that workshop by Wikite, DTM Wikite. It's in the afternoon. It starts at about 1 plus 2 o'clock. So I have offered that if you guys want to have a face-to-face, we can time it like 12 plus, like 12:15, or right after that workshop, which is 5:15. Right? I will set aside an hour. Yeah. Closer the date, I will ask who else want to show up. But don't feel obliged. Just do it as part of your life. This is what Toastmasters should be. Some people would organize, some people will offer time, and the rest can just come in as you feel like this is the time to do so. And hopefully the wheels will rotate and it will be your turn in time to come to organize or to offer your time to share and so on. And more people can benefit from it. All right. Okay. So that's all from me, Imran, tonight. I want to keep all my sessions very short and sharp so that we can focus and condense. And feel free to join me, and tomorrow 9:30 p.m. All right?
All right.
Okay. Thank you very much. Have a great evening.
Thank you.
I'll log off from here, right? Bye bye.
Bye bye.